This is the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Dory Stewart.
Welcome back to another episode of the FXBG Neighbors Podcast, where we share the stories of our favorite local brands. I have a special guest joining me today. We've got Dan Maher, and he is the president and CEO with the Fredericksburg Regional Food Bank. Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dory. It's great to be with you and with the neighbors in the community.
Well, I'm excited to dive into this episode and share all of the wonderful things that the food bank is doing for our community. So let's start there. Can you share with us what is the Fredericksburg Regional Food Bank and how does the food bank support our community?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Thank you. I think one thing that's really important to recognize is it's a unique kind of situation in the community. The word food bank gets thrown around a lot, and often people equate that to sites where people go and get food directly to kind of help those who are getting charitable food assistance. What I would distinguish the food bank, the Fredericksburg Regional Food Bank, as is we are a Feed in America network food bank, which serves multiple communities, multiple counties across the region. And that means that we are uniquely positioned to receive federal contracts for food, to work with retail partners in the community to gather food from the retail partners like the Giants, the Wegmans, those kinds of major brands within the community. And that gives us a unique access to food and a unique scale, which is very essential to make sure that all these counties that we serve receive consistent access to food for charitable food assistance. So often what we would say is what people consider a food bank is a pantry, where people go to get food is a pantry. We as a food bank are a centralized operation that gathers, coordinates, and distributes the food on a wide scale basis across Planning District 16, so Spotsylvania, Stafford, Caroline, King George, the city of Fredericksburg, and also a sliver of Orange. And we're a centralized warehouse, and that is a huge difference than the pantries where people go to get the food, but those pantries get supplied through us. And I think that's really important to recognize.
Very interesting. I did not realize that. So thank you so much for clearing that up. What a huge undertaking and a huge system you have going there. I imagine it takes a lot of work to organize all of the moving parts. So talk to me a little bit about that. What is, kind of a day-to-day look like? You're supporting all of these other, whether it's food pantries or other organizations. What does that kind of look like practically?
Yeah, it's a busy day.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely have a staff component. There's about 30 staff members who, some of them are drivers going out picking up the food from the retail stores within the community. Others are involved in, for example, fundraising or advocacy on behalf of the community. Others are administrative staff. The majority of our staff is warehouse staff to receive the food, organize the food in the warehouse, move it from site to site within our warehouse so that our drivers can pick it up and take it out, or agency partners, pantry partners can come to the warehouse and pick it up. So yes, we work with hundreds of partners across the community, many of them on a daily basis. And those partners either come to the warehouse and receive large volumes of food that they then take out for distribution, or we deliver it to them. And then we also coordinate SNAP enrollment, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, because physical food is essential to the community, but sometimes enabling people to go access food with SNAP benefits at a grocery store is equally important. And so we have a staff person dedicated to SNAP enrollments. So yes, you're right. The logistics of coordinating across a 6 jurisdiction area with hundreds of sites receiving food from us is pretty amazing, really, pretty complicated. And therefore, a lot goes on a daily basis. It takes a lot of moving parts, a lot of great people, a lot of volunteers from within the community to make it all happen.
Interesting. Thank you for breaking that down for me. What would you say is your biggest challenge, and how can the community help you?
Yeah, great question. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, generally speaking, the main things we look for the community to assist us with would be financial donations, because
Mhm.
certainly the logistics that we have to operate, the infrastructure we have to have in place, the staff component is very expensive to operate. Our budget for the year in a cash basis is around $5 to $6 million each year.
Wow.
So there's a significant amount of fundraising we need to do and significant amount of support we need from the community to make it all happen. And then volunteerism is a critical component. Even with 30 paid staff or so, we have hundreds to thousands of volunteers that we need engaged each year as well. So the community rallying around our circumstances and giving volunteerism to things like packing boxes of food, helping with distribution of food at sites, uh, things maybe as simple as administrative tasks of helping us mail thank you letters to donors, things of that nature. Those are all critical volunteer roles within the community. And then advocacy for our neighbors in need, reaching out to let others know about the food bank, about the important role of the food bank, reaching out perhaps to government officials, asking them to be very conscious of how the governments can support our efforts. So donations of time and money, and then advocacy voice are probably the three most essential ways people can unite with us.
Amazing, amazing. I hope this episode gets you a lot of attention and gets you some of those volunteers and advocates. What is something that you wish the listeners knew about the food bank?
Yeah, I think the scale of our operation
Hmm.
and the way in which we are basically the underpinning organization that fights hunger within the community. That there's hundreds, as I say, of organizations addressing hunger, but without a Feeding America Network food bank, there would be a real deficit within the community. As I said earlier, federal contracts are awarded to Feeding America Network food banks generally. That's about the only way federal food supplies flow into a community. The retail partners across the nation work with Feeding America as the first line of defense in terms of who they will give donated food products to. So it's really essential that the community invest in and sustain its Feeding America Network food bank. Otherwise, these resources would evaporate from the community. So I think that's really the thing I would like people to know most is investing in your regional food bank, Fredericksburg Regional Food Bank, is an investment in all the hunger fighting activities of the community. And without that essential investment, these other hunger fighting organizations in the community would be greatly at a deficit situation. And so investing in us first is a critical way to make sure that hunger is something that the whole community is addressing.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that a lot of people did not realize that, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's one of these things I would always say as a business person, when you're told you're a
Mhm.
hidden gem, that's not a great compliment sometimes.
So
And
true.
so I think we want to make sure that we're not in the shadows, we're not hiding.
Mhm.
And those partnerships are critical. We would never try to get in the way of people investing in their local pantries, their local faith-based organization, what have you. But
Mhm.
those organizations would not be able to do what they can do if they didn't first have a relationship with the Feeding America Network Food Bank.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. So if the listeners, or even I have a lot of business owners that
Mhm.
listen to the podcast. So if whether it's our neighbors or business owners want to learn more, want to contribute, want to volunteer, where's the best resource, or where should they go to learn more?
Yeah, our website's always a great starting point, fredfood.org. So fredfood.org is a great way to see what's going on at the food bank, to understand our programs better, the very diverse ways in which we put food out directly, as well as where our partner pantries are located within the community, and then how to volunteer. That's easily done through fredfood.org. You can see our volunteer opportunities. You can see the volunteer shifts where there are needs. You can enroll as a volunteer. And then certainly, like any website, there's a prominent donate button. So the ability to invest in our operations can take place right there. But certainly also, we welcome people to come and see. Come have a tour of the food bank. I think sometimes that's one of the things, the scale of operation when people come and volunteer for the first time. It's very eye-opening to understand the warehouse setting and the logistics involved in making sure that that food is not just sitting in a warehouse, but moving through that warehouse out into the community. So come out for a volunteerism shift, come out to tour, or certainly your financial support is critical too. So fredfood.org starts it all.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today. Thank you for sharing the Fredericksburg Regional Food Bank with us. I really appreciate your time on the podcast with us.
And I appreciate your interest, Dory, and the interest of those who listen to you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Fredericksburg Neighbors Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to fxbgneighborspodcast.com.